Welcome to Business Innovators Radio, featuring industry influencers and trendsetters sharing proven strategies to help you build a better life right now.
Hello and welcome to this episode of our program. This is Mike Saunders with Marketing Huddle, and today we have with us Sharon and Mark Reitz, who are owners of UME Custom Embroidery. Welcome to the program, Sharon and Mark.
Hi.
Hi, thank you.
Hey, so today we're talking about your business that does custom embroidery and promotional materials. So give us a brief background on what exactly you do, and then we're going to focus on a really specific vertical that you focus your attentions on, which is churches and 501c3s. But give us a little bit of a refresher on what it is that UME Custom Embroidery focuses on.
Well, basically, our business is providing customized products for pretty much anything. So we do embroidery on garments, we do screen printing, we provide signs, banners, promotional products, pretty much anything a business needs to keep their name out in front of their customer base.
You know, is there anything specific that you would say that you do differently than other competitors in your space?
One of the things that we do that might be a little bit different is because we are a smaller company, we do offer personalized service. We deliver to our customers. We try and make it easy for them to do business with us because we find that it's important to have a relationship with our customers, not just have transactions based off of them buying stuff from us.
Yeah, that's pretty profound. And I think that a lot of businesses, large or small, when they finally get that and realize that, it really is that aha moment, and it really just deepens that the outcome. And I would even suspect that it's almost kind of like, if you think about it, kind of like an insurance policy. You know, there's going to be a hiccup or a misstep somewhere along the way somewhere, but if you have that relationship there, then they're going to give you the benefit of doubt to make sure that, oh, yeah, we understand why that happened here. That makes total sense. Whereas if there's not a deep relationship, it's, I'm off to the next company and we'll hope to get a better service that way. So I think that's just such a huge aspect. Have you ever seen that pay off where you've actually heard back? Because many times I would think maybe you don't even hear a customer say, we really appreciate, the deep relationships you have, but maybe sometimes you have.
I think we've heard that numerous times from probably one of our longest standing customers, and that would be Ramey Environmental. We started with them when they were a small company, and we've grown as they've grown. And it's one of those things that when we go in and talk to them and make deliveries and just do things, they've told us that they like doing business with us because we offer that level of service, and they're happy with the product because their logo is a fish, and we made this fish smile on their embroidery, and they were just so pleased with that they don't want to go anywhere else anymore. That's
neat. It's those little touches that personal service, personal delivery, relationships, and then easy little touches. And maybe when they showed you some initial concepts, you could have just said, if you were a traditional company, you would have said, great, I'm an order taker. Here's what you ordered, and here's what I'm delivering. But you took it that extra step. That's really neat. Hey, so let's talk about this vertical, this industry, this focus that you focus on, which is churches and 501c3 organizations. Give us a little bit of background on how that kind of came to be, where you're focused on them, and what you provide to them that might be a little bit different than what they're used to receiving.
Well, for one thing, we are a Christian-based organization. I mean, a lot of our values are focused on church and family and those types of things. So we've been going to church for quite a while, and one of the things we found out specifically with our church was that they, in this ever-growing, busy world we live in, that branding is as important or more important to churches than it is to to other companies because there's really not much other way for them to differentiate themselves from other companies or other churches that are out there. And so we started with our church specifically and just developed a relationship with a lot of the different ministries that are in our church and found that there's a lot of opportunities in the church that go unfulfilled because they don't really have connections. I mean, one of the things we found with our church was that they were constantly going to the internet to find stuff, but what you get on the internet is usually a cheap price and not much service.
That's really an interesting point, because I think too many times churches feel like we're a church. We're certainly not a business. Well, the problem is if you don't have some, semblance of business principles, there's no structure. And you bring up an interesting term on branding. And I know that in our church, we have a certain, quote unquote, brand voice. When you come into our church, it's not this way, but it's this way, and sometimes people like it or they don't, and there's nothing wrong or right about it. It's just, like as an example, we choose to focus on, hymn singing and that type of focus in the music ministry, whereas sometimes people want the opposite, the praise and worship experience. No problem either way, it's just what you prefer. So can you go a little bit deeper on what you provide to your churches and 501c3s as it relates to branding? Can you think of an example maybe where you brought some branding to life for a 501c3 or a church that you work with?
Well, probably the biggest thing that we do with regard to branding is a lot of times in churches they have very basic graphic design services available to them. And what we do is we help them take their ideas and put them into a format that's going to allow us to produce them and produce a quality product, as opposed to taking, say, a JPEG image that's kind of grainy and got a lot of pixels in it. Because if you send that off to one of the internet places, they're going to print it just the way they get it. And one of the things we help them take their ideas and come up with a presentation that's going to really look good in print.
What is an indicator of when a church or a 501c3, what would make someone sit up and take notice and go, we kind of really have never given thought to our image, our brand? What are some things that they could look around in their organization and say, I wonder if this could be an opportunity for us to improve?
Well, probably one of the things is signage. I mean, we've worked with a couple of churches who thought they knew what they wanted in signage, and by providing them some, just going out and taking pictures of what they had and showing them on those pictures what their new design and stuff would look like in the space, we've actually told them, I wouldn't change it, because what you're proposing is not going to get a message out to somebody driving by on the street. Basically, they had gone with a bunch of pastel colors and they wanted it on a backlit sign, and we just told them, what you have currently is a far better representation or way to communicate who you are than this new logo is going to be on the sign that you want to do.
So when you say signage, what specifically are you doing as a company for the sign? Are you just designing a logo? Are you taking it all the way to the end and updating the sign itself?
Yes, actually, we help them with the design side of it, and we also produce and install the finished product. Some of the stuff we're able to do in-house, some of it we have to work with other professional sign suppliers, but for the most part, when it comes to a sign that you see on the side of the road, we have the abilities to in-house produce all of the product necessary to put that sign together and put it on there. on their property.
So I think that's a really interesting point of interest, because potentially you would hear someone say, well, UME Custom Embroidery, we'll give you a call when we need our, whatever, but they might not think about signage. And I think for a retail place, or in this case we're talking about church or a 501c3, that's an overlooked opportunity.
Well, and that's one of the reasons why we added "and imprinting" to our business name, because we thought we started out as an embroidery company, but over the years we've added a lot of other things. So that's why it's now UME Custom Embroidery and Imprinting, because the imprinting kind of adds some other options to it that they don't think of when they think of embroidery.
Yeah, that's a super good point. And you think about when you were mentioning branding. I think that in marketing, the thing that we have to keep in mind is capturing someone's attention, because in this day and age we live in, everything is vying for our attention. We've got instant message and Snapchat and texting and social media and advertising all around us. So what jumps out, and in this case here, we're talking about branding and signage. Well, a church sign might need to stand out to attract some attention. What have you seen some unique designs that would accomplish that?
It's kind of funny, because our pastor came up to me one week and he said, can you make me one of those arrows for a twirler to stand out on the corner on Sunday mornings?
Well, did he do it? Did you do it for them?
Yeah, actually we designed it, but we never actually produced it, because I think he got the impression from some of the feedback on the staff that might be just a little top.
Yeah, I think it would have to fit your message and your congregation and things like that, and I think there could be a place for it in some congregations and churches, but apparently not there. But that's a unique thing. So talk a little bit more about capturing attention for a church or nonprofit. Whether it's a sign, we've talked about that. What is another element that is not the typical thing that you would think about, like, we can imprint pens, that's the standard, that's the, you would expect that. What's some unexpected things that a church or a nonprofit could benefit from with your products or services that they might not have thought about, because they might not think of you as a sign provider, but what's another idea?
Well, one of the other things, special events and banners, things that happen in a church that are just one-time events. Banners are an excellent way to advertise those. You can put them out on the side of the building. You can put them on T-posts out in the yard, just a lot of different things, because banners are an excellent way to get a temporary message out, and they're usually reasonably cost thing. And one of the things that we do with all of the churches and 501c3s that we work with is we offer them a deeply discounted price, because we know that their budgets are very precious to them, and that churches are different than other organizations. Everything that they have to work with is something that's been donated to them, money that's been given to them, so they have a responsibility and feel it more closely to make that budget and that money and that donation go as far as possible.
Yeah, that's a super good point, and I know that in business it's not very smart to compete on price alone, because someone will always undercut you and put you out of business at some point. But in your case here, is there anything that you can just give an idea for a church or a nonprofit that might be hearing this saying, well, they're local, that's wonderful, they share our same type values, that's wonderful, but where's the price fit in? Are you going to be able to provide a very competitive price point?
Well, and that's what I was saying. One of the things we've done is we deeply discount the pricing. Basically, specifically with churches and screen printing, let's say, we give them our best screen printing price from unit 1, which is normally a 100+ unit price for a normal customer, but we try and make that price available because not every ministry opportunity is going to need 100 shirts. Most of them is smaller runs, 20, sometimes even less than that. And so by giving them better pricing on a smaller run, we are price competitive. And, in a couple of cases, we've even offered pricing on, say, our VBS shirts that they do, because they tie-dye shirts every year for the Vacation Bible School. And we keep dropping our price, and that in turn has gotten the church a better deal because somebody else has price matched us to get the business. And we're fine with that, but the ultimate thing here is that the church got a better deal on what we were able to help them with.
Yeah, that's just so important, because you think of some organizations these days that are business focused, and they expand beyond just the widget that they sell or provide. It's the cause. And with nonprofits and with churches, the cause is first and foremost. And I think that too many times they get blinded by the cause, and they don't realize that there's just a couple little tweaks that they could do to make that cause just come to life. Not that they're doing anything wrong, but come to life and be made more aware of. So your points here about branding are so important, and signage is so important, and even flyers. And you mentioned Vacation Bible School, and boy, if some of the logo and flyer and collateral that way could get a facelift, so to speak. But maybe that attracts and draws more, and even from the signs that you would just stick in the yard for an event like that, I'm sure that those are some of the things that you can assist with as well. Have you found some of those needs beneficial for the clients you work with?
Yeah, we have. If you want to take it one step further, we just recently decaled a food pantry's 32-foot box truck, so that they have this big billboard going down the road with their name, their website, all their information on the side of a 32-foot box truck every time they go and pick up food for their ministry.
Now that's two things come to mind when I hear that. One is I'm happy that you mentioned it, because it is a unique service, because now we're going from branding for a church or nonprofit to signage for church and nonprofit to now decaling a vehicle. And the aspect there is, I think that's untapped real estate, because you said box truck. There's so many organizations or ministries or nonprofits that think that they need to go pick up this or pick up that, and they just get in the truck and go. But in reality, that's a moving billboard.
Yeah, exactly. And, we've been working with this ministry on, off and on for a lot of years. We do stuff for them. But it's one of the things that he came to us about 6 months ago and said, I've got a donor who wants to do this, but I'm taking care of other needs first. And so we basically offered him a half-price decal job, because he was just having a hard time finding the funding and the donor to provide for it. So we decided that we wanted to help him get that message out there. So we gave him a really, really good deal on getting it done, just because it was important to us, and it was important to him, and it was important to the ministry for communication, because that's a source for him to now get further donations to further his ministry.
Yeah, and I love melding in business proven success principles to ministry-related topics, because it's so often not thought of. But when you think about that example you just mentioned, that is not an in-your-face selling situation, because no ministry wants to feel like they're strong-arming someone to donate, give, attend, or whatnot. But when you have that moving billboard kind of a situation, hey, we're picking up products, we're picking up kids from VBS, we're picking up food for the food bank. people are seeing that, and so many times, I know I've done it. You see a big old website on the truck, and you're going to go Google it next time, or you're going to go on there. Maybe even you see a unique, phrase tying in branding, and you're going to go Google that or Google that ministry and learn more about them. And you just never know what impact you're making. And having those kind of imprinting or, the vehicle wraps is so huge. Have you seen other unique applications, maybe with, a VBS, or a bus ministry at a church?
Well, yeah, actually, we have logoed several church buses as well, just so that they know that this is going down the road. Now, unique messaging, that's usually up to church what they want to communicate, because sometimes church buses are used for a multitude of different things. So it's rarely that they're used for one thing, so it's kind of hard to put a fixed message on them. Always.
Yeah, because the need may change so often, and it's kind of hard to kind of re-imprint that vehicle for this month's activity and change it out, because it could be variable.
Right, exactly.
Well, I'd like to wrap up with just, one last thought, which is the uniqueness that your company provides to churches and 501c3s and nonprofits, because I think it just opens up the realization that the opportunity is there more than they may have suspected. And I love the examples that you provided, because some of these are things that you normally wouldn't, an organization might not think, I may need to spruce up my sign. Let's call UME, Custom Embroidery and Imprinting. So I love that we're talking about these extra services. What's the best way that an organization can reach out and learn more? Maybe just open up a dialogue and chat with you on the phone just to see what their needs may be and what you may be able to provide for them.
Well, there's two different ways that they can get in touch with us. One is by phone, obviously, and that phone number is 303-833-4021. And then the other way is they can send us an email, and our email address is UME EMB@gmail.com.
At gmail.com. And then your website, of course,
is UMECustom.com.
That's very simple to remember, UMECustom.com. You can see some of your satisfied clients and customers and reach out and connect with you that way. So thank you so much for your time today. It was wonderful getting to know this aspect of your business.
Well, thank you for your time, too.
Thanks for listening to Business Innovators Radio. To hear all episodes featuring leading industry influencers and trendsetters, visit us online at businessinnovatorsradio.com today.